How many people do you know who struggle with their health? Chances are, whether they show it or not, most of the people in your life do. And chances are, you're one of them. Whether you're dealing with anxiety, depression, endometriosis, acne, eczema, autoimmune, thyroid, Lyme, brain fog, fatigue, or any other symptom or condition, you're far from alone. Living with symptoms has become the new normal. So no more guessing games. It's time to get answers. Welcome to the Medical Medium Podcast. I'm Anthony William. We're talking about fatigue. Not just any fatigue, the kind that sticks around and isn't just because you had a hard day or a long, long night. It's the kind of fatigue that rings the alarm bell that this isn't normal. And it's not getting in your way, it's doing way more than that. It feels inconceivable. Arms feel like sandbags, legs feel like lead. Let's get to it though. Lots to cover on this mystery fatigue train. Get buckled in. It's time to heal. No, I was telling you, I already told you this. This is like my 11th doctor. My 11th doctor. Yeah, oh, here he comes. He's coming in now. So, doctor, what's your diagnosis? I'm tired because I need a vacation? You sure? I heard that before. That was the third doctor that I saw. Thought I needed a vacation because I work hard. But I've already taken all this time off. You sure that's what it is? I lay around all day on the couch trying to sleep it off. And lately, I seem to not even be able to do that anymore. I can't even sleep it off. I'm not even sleeping good anymore. I already slept way too much and I'm still tired. This isn't normal. How are my blood tests? Good? Everything's good there? Okay. And my workup? That's all right too? And my stress test? That's all right too? All right. Give it more time? I will. I'll be back. Thanks. Millions of people, millions, mostly women, have heard something kind of like that since the late 1940s. Millions. Mystery fatigue was born around the late 1940s. Before that, no one was really tired unless they had a really hard work day working the factories. And still, they weren't tired like people are, where they get the fatigue. The disease, it wasn't born yet. It was just at its beginning. And today, mystery fatigue is now not a baby, it's a toddler. Tomorrow, mystery fatigue, a teenager. And the future, not too far from now, mystery fatigue is going to be in its elder phase. And that's going to be horrible. There used to be a lot of people getting mystery fatigue, lots and lots of people. But now it's a lot of people. It is rampant. It's an epidemic. I wish mystery fatigue was just from processed foods. Wouldn't that be amazing? You're eating a bunch of junk and garbage and fried greasy foods and fast foods and processed foods. Your whole diet is based on that. And then you just get rid of it and your fatigue's fixed. That would be incredible. But there's a lot of people out there that got rid of their processed foods and they're bedridden. But mystery fatigue's not processed foods. I wish it was over-exercising. That would be amazing. Kick back, don't exercise for a little bit, and it all goes away. That would be wonderful. But it's not. It's not from over-exercising. I wish mystery fatigue was just from working too hard. Take a break, take a weekend off, you're back to normal. You're not couch bound, you're not bed bound, you're just back to normal. But it's not that. I wish mystery fatigue was partying too much. You party hardy. You're a big time partier. You're up at night, late night, partying, doing drugs, drinking, whatever you're doing, having sex, just partying way too much. And you're fatigued because of that. And then when you stop all that, it's fixed. Just fixed. You're fine. You're great. I wish mystery fatigue was just from stress and stress alone. Once the stress backs down, calms down, you're back in action. All gone. Not bedridden anymore. Not couch bound anymore. Not brain fogged anymore. You're just feeling good. You can think. You could feel good. You could run. You can do this. You could stay up all day, not have to nap. That would be amazing if it was just stress. And then when stress back down, you're fixed. Any of these things, any of them, can make somebody sluggish and tired to a degree. It can beat somebody down. I'm not saying that if you do all those things or any of those things that you won't be tired from it. But the disease of being tired, you won't be getting. You won't have that permanent ticket on Mattress Island or Couch Island. Some rest, some recovery time. Take it easy, relax. You start to recover. You start to come back from it. And you get back to life. And that's what would happen. Unless there's a bigger problem. And you're somebody that's just trying to get through the day. You're just trying to do good things. You're trying to work. You're trying to make a living. You're trying to be the best you can be at whatever you're doing, but you can't function, or you can barely function. Decades gone by, medical medium information is saturated the health arena with information about why people have chronic fatigue syndrome, why people have mystery fatigue, and still till this day, you can go to a doctor's office, both alternative and conventional, and it's very possible you'll get this for an answer. It's all in your head diagnosis. That's right. It's all in your head diagnosis. One big mistake in the health world right now is blaming everything and anything on processed foods. That means, as of today, right now, if someone gets sick, the first part of that sickness is going to be blamed on processed foods. And then every aspect of that sickness is going to be blamed on processed foods. It's not that processed foods are good for us. And it also depends on what kind of processed foods are we talking about and how processed are they. But either way, processed foods right now are taking the highlight, the limelight. You're sick because of those. But what about junk runners? I don't mean drug dealers that are running drugs around. I'm talking about junk runners. People in their 20s and 30s that run marathons. They run for a living. They run professionally. They run every single day. Many of them run for a living and train people to run. And what do? They eat processed foods and junk. They don't even eat good. In fact, they boast and brag about it. They talk about their favorite meals after long runs, like bagels and cream cheese, macaroni and cheese, donuts, cupcakes. Yes, junk runners. It's not just one person's a junk runner out there. It's millions right now worldwide. They do long runs. They sweat a bunch. They come back from their run and they binge. They treat themselves. They call it an all bagel day, all donut day. It happens every day right now. It's not a trend or a fad. It's a reality. They're junk runners. They're not sick in bed. They're not sitting in bed all day, all night. They're not on the couch all day, all night. They didn't lose their job. They can exercise. They can live their lives. They can stay up late if they want. They can play. They can work. They can run. They can exercise. They can drink alcohol. They can eat processed foods, and they're not tired. Far from it. They're not on this quintessential perfect keto diet. Grass-fed beef, piece of pasture-raised chicken, some lettuce, maybe one steamed vegetable, a few pieces of fruit, a green apple, some blueberries. They're not on that. They're on just junk and crap and shit, and they're eating it. Candy, garbage, donuts, cakes, cookies. And they're eating that, and they're exercising, and they're pro athletes. Reminds me of a lot of pro athletes out there in general. Football players. Do football players eat perfectly? Do they eat a perfect keto diet? Clean from anything? Are they looking at every single package? Maybe somebody is. Maybe a few people are in the league, but is everybody doing that? No, and they're out on that field. Are they in agony with fatigue? Are they bedridden? Are they in a bad situation where they can't function and their legs feel like sandbags and they can't walk good and they're tired? No, they're not. Sure, a bad diet filled with all kinds of junk and crap over time will probably give somebody a heart attack. Yes. Somebody can live on a junk food diet. They can live on fried, greasy foods, processed foods for many, many years and not be tired at all. But yeah, they can get a heart attack. They can get a blood clot. They can get a stroke. They can get a major heart attack that kills them, definitely, over time. Things get clogged up. Their livers get fatty, stagnant, sluggish, don't function well. It's original medical medium information if somebody's eating a poor diet. Because in the past, a poor diet was really just based upon maybe heart disease, diabetes, those two. But the liver gets clogged up, gets sluggish, it gets stagnant, becomes problematic, puts pressure on the heart. And as time goes by, a major heart attack. But yet, no fatigue beforehand. People can go decade after decade after decade. Meanwhile, a 19-year-old that's eating healthy can't get out of bed. 21-year-old that's eating good enough, not eating a whole bunch of junk and garbage, can't function, can't get out of bed. 25-year-old, a 28-year-old, 32-year-old. Fatigue can be brutal, and depending on the age, even more brutal. The younger you are, it's terrifying. Somebody who sees everybody else in the world living their life, doing what they want to do, seeing their colleagues, their friends, their student friends, their family friends, all living their life, doing their thing. And if they're stricken with fatigue and they're watching all of this, it is just terrifying. So let's talk about the reality of it all. Like, what does it feel like? Unless somebody's been in their shoes and experienced it themselves, they'll never know. I think one of the hard parts about having fatigue of some kind, mystery fatigue, is that others around you don't understand it if they're not chronically tired. There's a lot of symptoms out there that are difficult, debilitating. A lot of symptoms that are mysterious. Even if they have a label or somebody gets diagnosed with a condition or a disease, it's still a mystery in the end. And in all of those conditions and symptoms, so many debilitating varieties, fatigue is one of the bad ones, because when you're dealing with a shake, it's a symptom where you have a tremor. You might be able to show somebody the tremor. If you got a twitch or a tick or a spasm, you might be able to show somebody the spasm. If you have something where you have a drop foot or something like that, somebody could see it and they'll be like, whoa, something's going on with that person. And if somebody has a really bad bellyache, even though they can't feel it and they can't feel what the person's going through who has that bellyache, it still can be like, okay, and the person's holding their belly and they're yelling and they're saying, this is terrible, I'm in a lot of pain. But when it comes down to fatigue, it's kind of like this phantom, this ghost kind of thing. And there's only so many times you could say, I'm tired, telling family and friends and workers and coworkers and your boss and so forth, I'm really tired. Well, get some sleep then. Did you sleep tonight? I do sleep all the time. I'm struggling. I got something going on. I can't even keep my eyes open, or I can't even stand anymore. I'm feeling so fatigued. Well, you should go to a doctor then. Head to a doctor and get it fixed. I've been to 3 doctors already. They think I need a vacation, but I can't take a vacation right now. Okay, well, go take a vacation, take some time off, come back when you're all better now. They take some time off, they come back to work, and they're just as tired. And then the boss is like, whoa, were you having a lot of fun out there? What were you doing? I've been on the couch and in my bed the entire week. It's one of those symptoms, one of those conditions that people don't have a lot of forgiveness for. A lot of compassion for. So if you're somebody and you're dealing with fatigue of some kind, now there's different varieties of fatigue, different levels of fatigue. And right now I'm just putting it all in one fatigue ball, but we'll cover some of the different varieties. But either way, however you look at it, it's one of those things where people don't have a lot of respect for, because they might say this person's lazy or copping out. But what about other symptoms? Like fatigue is bad enough as it is. What about anxiety along with the fatigue? Where you're sitting on the couch, you're panicked, you're anxiety ridden, and you're fatigued. It's a really salt in the wounds. And a lot of people have more than just fatigue and anxiety. They'll have aches and pains, fatigue, tingles and numbness, ringing in the ears, all kinds of different balance problems and vertigo issues, pain in the jaw, pain in the back, pain in the feet, pain on top of their head, their scalp, trigeminal neuralgia, burning tongue and burning mouth, and fatigue. All of it and fatigue. And fatigue is bad enough. So let's talk about different levels of fatigue. There's being tired where you feel it in your eyes. Your eyes are tired. You rub them a lot. They feel heavy. Your eyelids feel like they want to close on themselves. You stretch a lot. You yawn a lot. You're yawning more than normal. People are seeing you yawn all the time. People who are demanding your attention are looking at you and you're yawning right at them. And you can't help it. You can't hold the yawn in. But wait a minute. That's not just tired. It's more than that. You're yawning, you're stretching, and then you're kind of nodding off. It's another thing too. So many people who have fatigue nod off as they're talking to a family member or a friend. They start falling asleep. And their family member or friend is like, hey, you should take a nap now. And it could be intermittent. You got a little energy 1 hour in the day, another hour, you're down for the count. Another hour, you're feeling better. Another hour, down for the count. And then it could be this thing where you're half tired during one part of the day, more tired on another part of the day, or feeling pretty darn good one part of the day. And then another part of the day, you're just down. It can vary in so many different ways, depending on what you're doing too. If the fatigue is getting a little worse and you exercise, now you're trashed for a day. Some people, they'll exercise with fatigue. They're fighting it. They're struggling. They're doing everything they can. And now they're down and out for 3 days after. And then somebody could have a lot of energy in the morning, all through the day. They're doing pretty good. And then early evening, they're so exhausted, they can only just lay in bed. Fatigue can accompany a whole bunch of brain fog. Somebody could have just a foggy mind, foggy head, foggy brain. They can't get their words out right. They're feeling so low energy. They can't get their thoughts together. They're struggling because they're so tired. So getting words out is difficult all on its own. Taking a breath is difficult too. And at the same time, their head could be really brain fogged out. And these are a few of the mild fatigue situations. What about real serious fatigue, where you feel like you got lead weights in your hands, you feel like you have cement shoes on your feet, and just walking takes everything you have. And then it can go even further than that, where you can't take a shower. The water hitting you almost knocks you over. It's a big thing. A lot of people deal with it. What happens when people suffer in that way, though, they really get alienated. And people don't really want to hear about it anymore. And they end up losing friends, losing touch with people. Their day-to-day is suffering. And they're just in their house or in their apartment somewhere. And they're really struggling. Where taking a shower is so difficult. They'll get the dizzy spells. They'll feel the water hit them and it'll kind of light up their nerves. They'll get different sensations that are really difficult. They'll get a panic attack. Their chest will become tight. They'll feel like they can't breathe. The fatigue will take over. And after the shower, they're done. They're back on their bed and they're trying to just recoup. Same thing with going to the bathroom, using the toilet, just having to eliminate. Sometimes it takes everything a person has, even if they don't have the worst fatigue and they have just fatigue all on its own. Going to the bathroom could mean they need a break afterwards, where after they eliminate their bowels, they have to go lay on the bed now or lay on the couch or sit down somewhere and they have to recuperate. One of the problems with fatigue, mystery fatigue, is the industry doesn't like to recognize it. You have to go find somebody to give you a diagnosis that you have chronic fatigue syndrome or ME, chronic fatigue syndrome. And that's difficult because insurance companies don't care. Insurance companies don't want to really know about this kind of condition or disease. So even if you find coverage, it might not last long or something could go wrong. Chronic fatigue syndrome is not respected enough. It wasn't in the past, just a little bit more now than it was in the past. But seriously, as far as someone really struggling with chronic fatigue syndrome, getting a doctor, getting some kind of help is still really difficult. Understanding the condition, and then it's like musical chairs. It's like looking for something. They're like, well, you could have chronic fatigue syndrome, but you might have something else. Maybe you have Lyme disease. Maybe you got something else. Maybe it's MS. Maybe it's RA. Maybe it's just autoimmune. Maybe it's all in your head. And even till this day, someone will still get it's all in your head, or you're just looking for attention. And along with the fatigue is guilt and fear and shame. Those are things that really accompany it, especially if it's a misdiagnosis. And it's like, well, you're not really fatigued. You got this going on, or you got leaky gut. Let's fix it. But it doesn't get fixed. You still got the fatigue. So more guilt and fear and shame occur. And then with a lot of people who deal with chronic fatigue syndrome, it's the ultimate, you look fine, but you look fine. You can't be sick. You look good. You look like everything's okay. It's one of the ultimate versions of that. Meanwhile, you could barely stand, could barely walk. You can't do anything you want to do. You can't go and take a run and be like, ooh, and jump in a pool or in a beach. You can't just hop into the ocean and live your life. You're in a difficult situation because you're getting stopped everywhere you turn. And that leads to the whole, you look great. So what's really wrong with you though? Get to the doctor, but the doctor can't fix you. So more guilt and fear and shame occurs. Fatigue is real. Mystery fatigue is real. Chronic fatigue syndrome is real. And if someone doesn't have a big brain tumor inside their head that's causing fatigue, then it's Epstein Barr virus. And Epstein Barr virus could even create a brain tumor in somebody's head. So in the end, it originates from a virus situation. Now, there are some people that will have some fatigue from the shingles virus or herpes simplex 1, 2, but it's different. It's not necessarily the fatigue that Epstein Barr provides. Somebody could have adrenal fatigue. They could have that, and it could give them a tiredness. It could make them fatigued, but there's bounce back. There's recall. Could be at different times, different days, but there's bounce back. Mystery fatigue that's viral, you don't really get the bounce back in the way you do adrenal fatigue, unless the adrenals are totally wasted. But if they're that wasted in somebody's fatigue that bad because their adrenals are that shot, a doctor should find that. A doctor should be able to diagnose it properly and know that the adrenals are wasted, that the person really is suffering from adrenal fatigue. Doesn't mean someone with adrenal fatigue can't also have a viral infection like Epstein Barr. They're suffering from both. And viral infections can put stress on the adrenals, allowing adrenals to weaken more when somebody's dealing with neurological fatigue, the next thing I'm talking about. It took decades for the world of medicine to realize fatigue was neurological. Decades and decades. Medical medium information knew it was neurological because it wasn't just somebody being tired or exhausted or it was all in their head or they were being lazy. There were real reasons someone was suffering with fatigue. Neurological fatigue, by medical medium definition, is the central nervous system and other nerves within the body. They're inflamed due to neurotoxins or viral invasion. When people were diagnosed with glandular fever or mono and they got tired, doctors knew it was the mono or glandular fever that was exhausting the person, but they didn't know how or why. And then if somebody recovered from mono, somebody recovered from glandular fever, and they were still tired, it would be a mystery to the medical system, mystery to the medical doctors. They would not know why the person's tired. They're better. They're recovered from mononucleosis. They're recovered from glandular fever. Now, What's going on here? There's a mystery. And what about the person who had mononucleosis 3 years ago, 5 years ago, and has been tired ever since? What about the person who had glandular fever 10 years ago? They're still tired. A lifetime of chronic fatigue after glandular fever, after mononucleosis, and they had a lifetime of being tired. No doctor, nobody in the medical world, nobody in any medical university would say they had glandular fever or mono. They would say your tiredness is just something else. We don't know what it is. It's a mystery. But really what it is, it's neurological fatigue caused by the same virus that gave the glandular fever, the same virus that gave the mononucleosis, the Epstein Barr virus. What Epstein Barr does is it releases a neurotoxin after it's consumed a favorite food. A favorite food to the Epstein Barr virus could be gluten. It could be dairy products. It could be eggs. It could be toxic heavy metals like mercury and aluminum and copper. But Epstein Barr virus loves to eat. It has to eat to stay alive. It has to eat to survive. It consumes food and then it excretes. It does an elimination process. It eliminates toxins. The problem is those toxins aren't friendly. They're highly problematic to the central nervous system, to all nerves in the body. Epstein Barr releases all these neurotoxins. They float around. Sometimes they get caught up in the liver and they sit in there for a long time. But either way, they cause a battery draw, an energy draw. Those neurotoxins land on nerves, inflame them, irritate them, and this robs and steals energy. The more Epstein-Barr virus, the more viruses, the more viral cells, the more feedings that occur, the more neurotoxins that are released, the more symptoms with the chronic fatigue. Somebody could have just a little bit of viral inflammation, meaning low-grade viral infection, not a lot of Epstein-Barr going on, just a little bit, tiny bit of neurotoxins being released systematically, and then they feel tired all the time. They're struggling. But then somebody could have more Epstein-Barr virus and more neurotoxins are being released, and maybe they have more mercury in their system than somebody else. So the Epstein-Barr virus is feeding off of more mercury, releasing a more toxic neurotoxin. And when this happens and it's floating around, someone ends up getting more symptoms than just the chronic fatigue syndrome now. Now they're getting tingles and numbness, dizziness, ringing in the ears. They're getting all kinds of different blurry eyes without any kind of real diagnosis. Epstein-Barr tends to affect cranial nerves such as the vagus nerves. When they get inflamed or irritated by neurotoxins, then a lot of different strange, mysterious, weird symptoms can occur, like tightness in the throat, tightness in the chest, tingles and numbness in weird places, pains in weird places as well, because the vagus nerves are inflamed. When the vagus nerves get inflamed, that's when people are running to neurologist after neurologist after neurologist, and they're getting different answers from each neurologist. And they find themselves at a Lyme disease doctor, Lyme disease specialist. Then now it's all Lyme disease. It's all bacteria. And we're off the mark now because it's not a bacterial problem. Bacteria can't cause these symptoms. Viruses cause these symptoms, the Epstein-Barr virus especially. And when it comes down to Lyme disease, doctors now are testing for Epstein-Barr. Interesting, because I thought it was all bacteria. That's what they always say and said. Medical medium information talks about it being viral. Lyme disease was actually a virus or viruses, Epstein-Barr being one of them. But now Lyme doctors are actually saying, oh, bacteria, bacteria, bacteria. Here's some doxycycline. Here's some different, antibiotics. But let's go check this Epstein-Barr thing. Ooh, you have Epstein-Barr too. But yet they're still like, oh, here's the antibiotic for the bacteria. But yeah, you have a virus as well. So medical medium information turned the tide on that because it's really a virus causing Lyme disease, and they were off the mark with the bacteria. So, what do we do if we have a viral infection causing mysterious fatigue? We kill the virus. We go after it. We destroy it. We starve it. We get rid of it. We push it out of our body and we heal. And after we kill that virus or viruses, after we kill the Epstein Barr virus, because somebody could have 2 varieties of Epstein Barr or 3 varieties of Epstein Barr, after we kill them and get rid of them, we restore the central nervous system. We heal the nerves. If you're somebody that had a diagnosis, an autoimmune diagnosis, a condition, a symptom, you're struggling for a long time, you've been through a lot, you can heal. Yes, and you will heal. Having the right information is critical. Giving your body what it needs, like smart things, not just get rid of processed foods. That automatically is a no-brainer, of course, but it's not enough. When it comes down to healing, we got to know what's wrong. And when you learn about these viruses and you learn what they're capable of, how they live in us, what they do, you can overcome the condition and the symptom and not just manage it, overcome it. Every night, your body does a little bit of healing when you're giving your body what it needs. Every single night you move forward, even if it doesn't feel that way. Because when a nervous system has been overburdened by all those neurotoxins and heavy metals and other poisons and so forth, when your nervous system has been overburdened, it doesn't heal in 1 hour. It can't. It could do some healing in 1 hour, but it can't fully, completely heal when somebody has had a long-term low-grade viral infection that's been wreaking havoc, or viral infections that have been wreaking havoc, or multiple different varieties of viruses. It takes time. But as you're killing off the bugs, getting rid of them, breaking them down, and restoring a damaged immune system, life starts to change. And you start to heal. And you start moving forward. One of the struggles is being in the darkness of not knowing why you're sick, what to do, and the process. That's a difficult place to be. But when you know you're restoring your nervous system and that's the goal, that's a big deal. And when you know you're restoring your immune system and that's the goal, it's a big deal. And when you know you're killing off bugs and pathogens and viruses, it's another big deal. These things bring peace while you're healing. I'm in Medical Medium Book 1, Secrets Behind Chronic and Mystery Illness and How to Finally Heal. I'm in the Chronic Fatigue Syndrome section, the revised and expanded new edition. And so what I'm going to do is read some of my favorites here. There's a lot of different things you can do for chronic fatigue syndrome. Let's start at the top. Fresh celery juice. Exactly. Just fresh celery juice. Says here, work up to 32 ounces daily. Then work up to 64 ounces, if possible, a day. Now, you can just do 4 ounces of celery juice every day. 2 ounces, and you're moving the needle. You can just do a little bit, but if you get up to 32 ounces every single day, you can move mountains. That is someplace that you could just start, just right there, and start moving things forward. Now, keep in mind, you may be somebody that has a multiple batch of viruses in you, different strains, different varieties. You've been sick and down for a while. They all came to roost. They're all causing problems. You got 50 different symptoms, mostly neurological. You're going to need probably more than celery juice. So let's take a look at some of the other things in here. Cat's claw, one of my favorites. Cat's claw, 2 dropperfuls twice a day. Cat's claw is a powerful antiviral. It is wonderful for chronic fatigue syndrome or just mystery fatigue. Because of the medical medium information, Lyme disease doctors are now offering cat's claw. Pathogens don't like cat's claw. They don't. They're allergic to it. But yet our body isn't. What happens when cat's claw enters the body, pathogens go, oh my God, run. But it takes time because pathogens hide out in different places in the body. They hide out in the liver. They hide out around the nervous system. They hide out in the spleen, even around the pancreas. Takes a little time to get cat's claw into the body, but when you bring it in, you're already moving forward. Lemon balm, another one of my favorites. It's in the list. What I love about lemon balm, it helps to soothe the nerves, and nerves get inflamed because of Epstein Barr and other viruses. And that inflammation causes those nerves to vibrate, to rattle, to have a vibration behind it where people lay there and they feel it. Nerves get so inflamed, it even creates where you hear your heartbeat when you're laying down. You hear a pulse when you're laying down because nerves get inflamed. And because of that, there's pressure building in the body. So you hear your pulse, you hear your heartbeat. And that's really hard for people who can't sleep or they're laying around all day long and they have to hear that. That inflammation is the nerve swelling, pressing against so many other things. Lemon balm calms the nerves, eases them. It's really an amazing herb for the nervous system, helps them to heal too. And pathogens do not like lemon balm. It's antiviral. Another one on the list I really like is licorice root. It's antiviral. It says 1 dropperful twice a day. Viruses hate licorice root, especially viruses that hibernate inside the liver. Licorice root is a great herb for the liver. Helps to push out the viruses, helps to gum them up, get them trapped, get them docile. Licorice root is also good for the immune system, helps to restore the immune system, strengthen it, something that you need, especially when you've dealt with fatigue for so many years and for so long. Vitamin B12, that's a big one right there. Methylcobalamin and adenosylcobalamin. The combination is perfect for the nervous system. And what happens with people, their nerves get fried. They get burnt out. Central nervous system and nervous system symptoms are some of the worst, and fatigue is a neurological symptom. It's neurological fatigue. So that means the nerves are up against problems. And like we talked about before, neurotoxins inflaming the nerves, there needs to be some help for those nerves. And B12 is a big one right there. Golden seal is another one on the list. It's one of my favorites. It says 2 dropperfuls twice a day. That's an important one. Great for the immune system, helps to move the needle. Viruses and pathogens do not like golden seal. And one of the most important that's on the list right here, zinc. Liquid zinc sulfate. It says here 2 dropperfuls twice a day in the medical medium book. Zinc is a big one because it slows down and stops cytokine storms. It gets in the way of pathogens in every way. Pathogens, viruses especially, do not like zinc. And zinc restores the immune system. And the thing is, people who are sick have immune system problems. Their immune systems are weakened. They're struggling. Zinc is something the immune cells need to strengthen, move forward, and attack bugs that are in your system, such as Epstein Barr. Now, the right kind of supplements always matter. There could be alcohol in supplements, all kinds of different things like MSG, or they can just be really weak. This matters when you're trying to heal. Go to medicalmedium.com and check out the best versions of the supplements that I just talked about. And if you want to customize for your healing, do what's right for you, check out Medical Medium Revised and Expanded. Medical Medium protocols are customizable. You can also ask your doctor what's right for you. I'm tired. Can't seem to beat this. Feel like I have the devil on my back, wrestling the beast, trying to get some peace. I have to break this. I remember the days when I wasn't like what I am now. I know in my heart and soul, and in every fiber of my body. I will be back on top like I once was. It doesn't matter if it's a year from now. I will be free from this grip, and I will be looking back behind me. I won the fight. I told a demon, I rule you, and good night. I see that old ship floating in the distance, far away, with all the records of my pain and suffering I once felt every day. I will be past it all. You will be too. Believe you me. In God we trust. It's true. These days of struggle will be long gone and through. I can see what's coming to me. My hard work paid off, and I am sporting so much confidence. I'm showing off. Don't cry. This is not your time to die. Far from it. It's gonna take so much more to knock you out, and you're gonna be the last one that says bye-bye. Truth be told, you're carrying a mother load. It shows your true strength. Fatigue isn't going to be your road. Even if right now you feel the overload, deep inside of you lies a strength you were never yet introduced to, a supreme weapon that will carry you till you heal down here. Feel the divine power that lands on the number 7. It's gonna be okay. You are healing now. Each day, you will heal even more until you are fully healed and back to the life you once adored.
Original published medical medium information gets stolen and poached by podcast doctors, social media doctors, influencers, and medical clinics. Medical medium information has never yet been proven wrong by medical science and research. Instead, the opposite, only proven right and then taken from medical medium published material and used in the conventional and alternative health communities. Medical medium information continually sets the stage for medical science to understand chronic illness better. If you choose to share or use the original, unique content from the Medical Medium podcast, books, or Medical Medium social media, please cite where this information comes from, so others who see and learn of this information have a chance to know where it all originates, to give them an opportunity to heal, so they don't end up losing years of their life searching for answers like so many have before them. The Medical Medium information here on this podcast doesn't come from broken science, interest groups, medical funding with strings attached, botched research, lobbyists, internal kickbacks, persuaded belief systems, private panels of influencers, health field payoffs, trendy traps, or gathered bits and pieces of gimmicky confusion. Because chronic illness is exploding like never before in our modern day history, it takes a greater force than us down here. It takes a helping hand from above. Medical medium information has street cred. It's an organic movement of countless people around the world healing. More healing stories of real people not being paid to tell their life-changing experiences of rising out of the ashes of sickness and entering into the light of full recovery, getting their lives back and finally healing when nothing else in the world of health could move the needle and get them better. The information on this podcast is not man-made. It comes from above, from a higher source. Whatever you believe in, whether God, the universe, the light, or the creator, or if you believe in nothing at all, that we're just floating through space together on this rock. Know that the information you hear on this podcast is separate from all the other noise out there. It comes from a different place, a pure, untampered with, advanced, clean, uncorrupted, original, primary source, a higher source, spirit of compassion.